do is write one line. It says you cannot hold property in man.
Okay.
Same thing with women's vote. And
Okay.
all the real issues are easily resolved. But you get rid of the 16th Amendment, the 17th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, everything that has led to abuse of courts and abuse of power.
Okay, so let's say you do all that. How are you going to deal? So, like a fundamental, like theoretical problem, which, like in practice, turns into a practical problem. And this is really what all these people are angry about. I don't know how many of them are able to articulate it. But there's the balance between individual liberty, state power, and you address a lot of that. But what you're doing is you're lumping corporate liberty in with individual liberty.
Pause on that.
And what?
Pause on that. Corporations are voluntary associations of people that have certain legal status. Voluntary associations of people.
They are. One of the practical problems that needs to be addressed is how do you balance individual, and by individual I mean me and my boy. How do you balance individual needs with corporate needs?
It's not up to me to balance.
And the only answer that we've come up with, as messed up as it is for state power to be a check on corporate power.
The elemental way that you and I affect corporations is we buy or do not buy their product.
And corporations own, what percent of the world's food supply?
Doesn't matter.
What percent of the world? Where are you going to get your electricity from, if not from progress?
I've lived several weeks at a time without power at my house.
As have we all, and it blows.
It's not pleasant, but here's to you. If my choice is to wipe out all the coal plants, have higher electric rates, or to have cheap electricity, I'll go for cheap electricity.
But no one's it goes back to the slippery slope problem. No one's suggesting that we strip Progress Energy of their corporate charter and go back to candles. What they're suggesting is that there should be a limit on what's a reasonable kilowatt hour rate for them to charge for the electricity.
You're imposing your belief on the market, and that's just as bad as the government imposing its belief on the market.
So, aside from the fact that corporate power drives most of what happens at state power, if we just push that to a side, theoretically, if all of us collectively vote that I'm electing this congressperson who believes that there should be a kilowatt per hour limit on electricity.
That's not what Congress should be doing. Congress has no right to affect the marketplace.
If the marketplace is monopolized,
then strip the monopoly out.
Municipalities only get to make a certain percentage over their costs. That's what your electric bill is based on. Period.
If you strip...
No, that's all they get. They don't get to make an infinite amount of profit.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that's why...
If you say the free marketplace should be allowed to set their rates...
Seriously, the municipalities, they're only allowed to...
Wait, stop. Are you telling me how it ought to be? Or
that's how it is.
Right, and I'm saying...
They only get to make like 5% over their costs.
Yes, I know, because we have a state check on that corporate power to set their rates.
That's why municipalities, that's why electric and water and stuff like that, it's always a safe stock to buy. You're going to get a small amount of return on your investment, but not a large amount. But seriously, that's how it works.
Because we have a regulation in place that says, here's your ceiling.
Right, and that's the way that it should be. They shouldn't be unchecked, and they're not.
So that's why the financial banks were not allowed to be in the mortgage business.
That's the way that it is.
I know.
Yeah, you don't have to argue about that.
I'm talking to a person. I'm talking to a person that believes in. Are you like 100% laissez-faire capitalism? Like just absolutely. I mean, it's funny that puts you and I in a certain amount of agreement because I'm kind of an anarchist.
Well, I came here today because there are lots of kernels of truth that are shared. However, as I said before, we can agree on certain ends, but we'll never agree on certain means. And that's where the morality comes in.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really easy brush to paint with.
No.
The morality brush.
Do corporations have any morality?
Irrelevant.
It is
I have
irrelevant.
morality. I choose where I spend my money.
You choose where you spend 80-90% of your money.
But what about
No. I mean, no. Well, so 40%.
a corporation will buy another corporation just to shut them down and eliminate their competition? Is that free market?
Yeah. They couldn't afford to buy them out if they weren't making a better product or making more money on the
No,
product.
not a better product. That has nothing to do with it. That's irrelevant.
By the
If
way,
you have the
the United
more money,
States military and government played a big role in every one of those. So don't, that's
I'm
really
not a fan of the government. I wasn't here to
we know
support
you're
the
not.
government.
Corporations are though.
support corporations, aren't
No, I'm here to support freedom. Me,
you?
Individual.
Even though,
individualism.
yeah. But you
you're
vote
getting
against your
less
own
and
personal self-interest, economic interest.
When I vote in a fairly conservative manner for my best interest.
How is abolishing a woman's right of choice in your best interest?
You're assuming that I'm doing that.
You said you vote conservative.
They're social, they're fiscal, they're all sorts of conservative.
And which are you, sir?
I'm a fiscal conservative.
Fiscal conservative. Oh, okay.
How do
So-
killing babies produce any kind of freedom for anybody?
Freedom of choice, man. You talk about you talk about individual freedoms, but you're not willing to put your mouth where your vote is.
Oh, true. Some people can kill others, and that's okay.
do you have kids?
Because they're free to do it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the people we elect to Washington kill more people.
So my
2 million a year.
My wife and I got
Since 1973.
6 months into.
My name is Hans.
My name is
I'm
John.
getting a little hot standing in the middle of the crowd. I'm going to walk around a bit.
Hans, thank you for your effort there.
You're
brother.
in a hot spot.
No, it's just dark suit.
No. I mean,
Yeah. Find shade,
There's a
Hans.
problem.
I don't either. But I admire
Discussion.
I admire what you're doing a great deal, and it's important.
And there are aspects of what these folks are doing that I find admirable.
Quite frankly,
I can't find one Drudge Report.
I see absolutely no
African
reason
country, yeah,
that
besides
the Tea Party
Africa.
and this
Christians in Africa.
need to be separate.
The Lord's Army. Oh, we're going after them.
Yeah.
Can't find the country. It
As
wasn't
soon as
Manifest
you get
destiny.
that man,
Yeah.
you lose us.
Sir, my father is a Southern Baptist minister. I don't miss morality issues.
Sorry about that.
No. They do not escape me. I do not miss them as in I have left them behind. They do not escape my attention.
You have a good day.
Economics is a morality issue.
That's a good point. Thank you.
And I don't get to vote on interest rates. And I don't get to vote on taxes.
But the intergenerational crime of allowing corporations to kind of murder the planet is a moral issue as well.
I'm surprised that conservatives aren't the biggest environmentalists that we have.
We believe in stewardship, but the problem is, the answer, you go to East Germany when the walls fell down, and that place was a trash pile because the government owned it all. When government owns land, it isn't better stewardship, it's worse.
I think there's an interesting dichotomy being drawn between.
That's such a lame argument, though, and it's one that
It's a false dichotomy. It's a false dichotomy to say that because these people think that corporations should be stripped of power, that there's an automatic assumption that power should be transferred to the state.
Well, that's ultimately
That's how it tends to
the
go
way
down.
it historically goes.
That's how it historically goes.
These people are not.
That is not how.
freedom.
That is not. No. That is not what these people want.
You're right. Freedom is not what they want. Okay.
No. They are not asking.
How are you defining freedom?
They're not asking to have one dick removed from their asshole and have another one inserted. That is not what they're asking for.
Did you get that one?
Try not to laugh.
Defining freedom.
I'm defining freedom as economic
That's an
freedom.
interesting way to put it.
The right to private property.
that
These
used to be
people
repeated a lot.
are. It sounds like confiscation.
No, I get it.
The people that are
Tell
here
me
not
how you're hearing that. I'm really curious.
How I'm hearing.
How are you hearing that in such a black and white way?
at least corporations put on a good show.
I heard some people say today that makes you think that we want to take all of the private wealth and make it our own. Like what? I mean, I'm curious.
Today isn't as much as the national movement.
That's great.
If I walked in and pick out some individual posters, I would. I mean, you can just look at all of them. Philosophically, this is a dangerous movement, in my opinion, because the nationwide movement is to you look at the stand that the actual Wall Street, what is it called? Take Back Wall Street?
Occupy Wall
Occupy
Street.
Wall Street. You go to their website and see what they want to do. They want to, you look at their agenda items, and they're creating a country that would wind up being like North Korea or Cuba, because in the end, the state would be the only thing standing. Everybody would have federal paychecks.
Do you feel that as a country we are not capable of balance?
If these guys have their way, I don't think it would be balanced. I think
Not well.
Well,
And
what
this
do you
gentleman
think
over
is-
here said he was an anarchist. I don't know if that's anything close to balance.
I'm not with that gentleman here.
Well, okay, but you got Che Guevara signs. You have people that say they are Marxists and socialists in this movement, and that's nothing close to balance. Nothing at all.
Yeah, at its core,
You know-
this is a Communist Manifesto at its core document here.
You know, you saw the same kind of thing at the Tea Party rallies, didn't you?
No, it was Constitution is the core value
No,
there.
no. You
Actually,
saw
I'm a part of
people
I'm a leader in the
talking
Tea Party. I would like for you to tell me how that's
we saw,
identical.
You saw people talk. I'm not saying it's identical.
How is it even similar?
You saw a similar extremism at the Tea Party rallies, didn't you?
How?
Comparing.
Now we came
Obama
here because we wanted to
Nazi,
hear.
saying
Did you
that the
come to our
American
rallies? Did you
taxpayers-
come to our rallies
No, but I watched a lot of them on YouTube.
on YouTube? Well, we're here and we're seeing it, and that's a very different experience being there than actually seeing it on YouTube. You'd have to actually come and see us because
I'm asking
nothing
you about
close
a
to this.
specific aspect. You're saying that you see signs here about Che Guevara and such, and I'm telling you that we
And
saw
Mao.
signs about the American taxpayers are the Jews for Obama's ovens.
The
How
Jews,
is that not extreme?
the Jews for Obama's.
Yes.
Wow, we said that?
Yes.
No,
Why
we
don't
didn't.
You go, really?
No, I'm a part.
Where
I've been a
was
part of
that?
the Tea Party for 3 years. I've
Have you
never
been
heard
to
that.
Every Tea Party rally out.
Okay, yeah.
I'm connected with all the. I'm connected with all the leaders in this state. I would love to know where you're getting that from because none of them believe that.
Well, why don't you go and YouTube it?
Go and YouTube it. Well, just like there was that KKK guy, that neo-Nazi that came into the Tea Party, and he was trying to mingle himself with the Tea Party, and we said, we need you to leave because you don't stand for anything that we stand for. If that kind of stuff was being said, we would kick them out. You guys are accepting them. Yeah, they're up there and they're up there and.
And I have people in my family that are actually members of the Tea Party who have said those very things, who have been to
That have
rallies.
said those.
Yes.
Well, we don't agree with that.
Okay.
That's absolutely untrue.
I guess what? I don't agree with the people that have the Che Guevara signs here.
Well, and they
there we
need
go.
they
So are we that far apart then?
those people need to be excommunicated out of this group because they're for anarchy and killing people.
All right.
Well, we're all having a conversation here.
Confiscation,
Are we
the
that far
anti-corporate side is alarming. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really alarmed by some of the extremism I see on the other side. So where is there a middle place that we can all be?
What extremism? What extremism is she talking about?
And I'm asking him a question.
We've already refuted that. We've already refuted that.
Just say
I'm-
philosophical.
I'd love for you to give
I'm
us another
asking him a
example.
question.
Another example.
I'm asking you a question.
The Constitution is way too extreme.
Jay.
I'm not talking about. My name is Katie. What do you do?
Guys, you're going to think I'm a commie rat bastard. I'm a public school teacher.
I'm a social worker.
Okay.
So,
Katie, glad
how
to
are
meet
we?
you.
We're not very far apart then.
No, the thing that, I'm living in hypocrisy because I'm opposed to huge government, and I see the trend of the Obamas and the trend of that whole, where the Democratic Party is pushing us toward more government.
And even some liberal
Bush is
Republicans are doing it
Yeah,
too.
Bush is not
Yeah.
a saint in this.
Yeah.
People go, what about Bush? Well, Bush, I was depressed and quit joining, became an independent over guys like Bush.
Yeah.
I would love, we
Look, if
probably
you're
agree a
filming
lot.
because you want to see me call somebody names, you're not going to see that.
Oh no, no.
I'm a clinical social worker. I'm a therapist, actually.
She's good. She's a negotiator, too, so find
I
the common
spend a
ground.
lot of time because I really believe it. I forget your name again.
Jay.
That's the only solution at this point. We really have to move past that. You people are, with your Nazi signs. Yeah, people with your Che Guevara signs. I mean, that's silly.
it's disturbing.
Silly.
It's very disturbing.
How divided we've become, isn't it?
It's disturbing that we have people in our country that are praising people that have killed millions and millions of people. That's very disturbing. When we want people, we have socialist and Marxist and Che Guevara praisers up in Wall Street.
I think he said the army.
He said the army?
No, million. No, he didn't say thousands. He said millions. Millions. It takes communism to do that.
And our government. How many have we killed over time?
Over time, well, Stalin killed 30 million
civilians have we killed? How many civilians have we killed?
Who really wants to see that happen? And I bring this back to you, Jay.
Yeah.
My concern about all of this moves beyond you're you and I'm me and never the twain shall meet. That to me is immature. We are regressing psychologically as a country. We are kind of regressing back to children doing taunts to each other on playgrounds. We have to move past that. And I want to talk to you. I find you really fascinating. My name is Katie Maxwell. I have a practice in Chapel Hill. Here's my card. I mean it.
My name is Jay Delancey, and I actually agree with her on that.
I'm not against you at all. My mother was a public school teacher, we came today partly just to kind of figure this all out, but we really have to move past the gotcha, I'm going to get you. I saw that sign. No, you didn't. Well, prove it. No, I can't. That's silly. And what is your name? I'm not calling you silly.
Joel.
I'm saying Joel. That Joel, we have to move past that. We will never.
When it's a massive movement and you're seeing a lot of it, it is very concerning. I have 4 daughters. I am very concerned about the direction this country's moving in. Now, if we can agree on principles, we can do that. But when we have anarchists out here,
and so here's what we
compare the French Revolution and the American Revolution. It's 2 different ways of doing it. One was orderly, which is Tea Party. They clean up after themselves. I can give you 1,000 anecdotes to point that, in a word, they're flag wavers. And these guys, in a word, are flag burners. That's my opinion of it.
I think when you put it that way, Joel, Joel, how
okay,
can,
Kathy.
How can
you were a good social worker after then, Katie.
Sorry. How can we ever find a common ground?
Well, I agree, but the rhetoric of
it'll just have to get bad enough for the middle class until it affects everyone. Just like civil rights. Paul. Good to meet you.
Well, then it's a battle of rhetoric. It's both sides shouting, and then the middle class going, which side do you agree with?
Don't you think we have to get past the battle of rhetoric here? And the battle of name calling and the battle of I'm better than you, my group, you. We're beginning to turn into a bunch of people who act like this whole thing is about what sports team's going to win. Duke versus Carolina, Dukies, let's bang the car, and that our elections are like the Super Bowl. We have to get past that. It's so adolescent. Can we not grow up as a country and really just find solutions?
It's going to get worse.
Wow. Yeah, you ought to run for office with rhetoric like that, but I go, it would be nice if people would actually vote with their brains.
I really like you. Joel?
I'm sorry.
Awesome. Paul?
Good to meet you.
Really good to meet you. My husband's, I can tell him becoming uncomfortable. I have to move now, but...